What's up, guys? Just running through the outlook for today. Bit of an interesting spot again. We've been opening in weird spots, and we've also been getting to the better spots later in the London session this week, just where the timing's happening to be working out. In terms on GU, where we're at, obviously, we did come down and sweep this little low yesterday, which has given us a bit of a push up. Slows nothing overly significant. It doesn't really hold any weight in the market. It's just something I was using as a bit of a catalyst for yesterday's analysis. But we have pushed through that now. We have, I believe, just missed, well, we may have just mitigated that whole demand area. Have a look. No, we've just missed that whole demand area. It's pretty close to it, but yeah, we've just missed that whole demand area. So, we haven't come into anything that would make sense to drive price up yet. This area, of course, I won't be expecting any of this to hold, given that complete retracement now that we're starting to work our way down. We are generating some really nice liquidity to the upside here that will have as a really good target for when we do take that low there, that'll more or less activate all that liquidity. So looking forward to that when we get down there. But for now, just looking to continue working our way down to target that low. Um, we did obviously induce those lows last night, including this low again after breaking high. So just our bearish order flow at the minute's pretty well spot on and perfect. Now structure cycles are really, really clean. We have now during Asia come up, mitigated this extreme point. I don't love this complex pullback, but it is relatively slow. Like we've got break, made some equal highs, slowed down a little bit on the complex pullback. So, it's not as slow as I would like it to see and didn't generate as much liquidity as I would normally like to see. But it has generated obviously a little bit. And now we're just absolutely melting off of the break of it. So the only thing I'm really looking for coming into today is one, this might end up being a smart money trap, just given the speed of the complex pullback, with it not generating too much liquidity and more or less coming into this area. But also as well with the divergence that we have with EU mitigating its extreme point and a very, very strong demand. So that may drive price up a little bit, but the divergence with EU as well. EU did induce as GU's obviously respected, so that helps the bearish divergence there. So fair chance that we do sell off from where we are. Oops, go back to GU before I do EU. So for sells, look, we don't have a lot of structure obviously to work with. We do have this demand area, which again goes against the structure cycle. Same this time frame on the 15 as we have on that higher time frame. I am happy to look for sells through here if we can get enough of a retracement. The only issue is we're going to be working with new structure only, as we obviously don't have anything inside that whole leg to be able to induce. It would have to be more so like mitigation, get some sort of like a two leg, utilize something in here, something like that to be able to get in, targeting obviously these lows. So we'll see. It's going to need to develop a lot of price. If we do melt right the way through and come and take out this low, that is going to give us a medium inducement. We do have a couple of small breaks here, so I am happy to look for buys off of here, only if I get a really, really nice setup, and I would need something like that's really, I would want to be looking to induce, mitigate, manipulate, buy, break even, target, target. That's kind of what I would want at the very, very least. I'd need something to be able to work with. So we'll see what this does now. It may slow down a little bit coming into session now that we're in Frankfurt. So we'll just see how that pans out. If we do push our way up from here, I'm not going to look to buy through this, just given the way that we're forming really nice bearish order flow. But I would be happy to sell off of the inducement of that, as again, we'll get a medium inducement into mitigation of an inducement supply. That'll create obviously one target, two target as well, with this being a supply to demand zone, however that ends up there. So we'll see how that shapes up. If we do obviously pull up here, something like that, and induce that on open, I may look to buy it, as that will be a medium inducement. It will just depend on what EU is doing at the time. So yeah, look, it's we don't have a whole lot to work with on GU. Ideally, I'd like to just follow with the structure cycle. Now on EU, we do actually have some better options. Unfortunately, has just pushed through one of those options. But in terms of the positioning of it, so I'll jump actually out onto the 4 hour for EU. So higher time frame, we know we're inside that massive leg there. This area here is that supply to demand zone, the decisional of that external break there. So very, very strong point. It's also the extreme of our hourly leg that we've got just there. So absolutely a point that can drive price up, which is what I was saying, obviously, with the divergence on GU. But obviously, we do have a lot of strong bearish pressure at the minute. This is only the decisional of that 4 hour external break. We can absolutely push lower and drive all the way through this point. And with this bearish momentum that we've got, I wouldn't be overly surprised if that's something that does happen. However, coming into today, so we have mitigated that point last night. We've broken a 15-minute high, first break in the opposing direction, very fair chance it's an inducement. We have mitigated this area, which I don't like that area by any means, but I do really like this inducement. So turning a little bit of a blind eye to this mitigation as I'm also focusing on what price has induced from a liquidity standpoint. I was hoping to better utilize this point as a smart money trap, but again, it's driven through it. So we do have, 5 minute break, but 5 minute break more so I'd use there. In terms of options to be able to buy EU, I'm in the same boat as GU. I don't have any way to really be able to buy it unless we got all the way down here, and that would be a late London session at the very most if it got there in a way that I would need it to without absolutely melting. So we've got obviously some structure to work with. If we drive up from here, we do have the inducement of this point, which will give us medium inducement as it's high outside of Asia. And we do have this little high here, which actually took Asia high. So we're going to get some medium inducements into the mitigation of this area here, which is, as we know, demand to supply area responsible for the break of that low. So we do have that option there, which to be honest is the best option for EU. In terms of a way to be able to sell it, I don't want to sell it all the way down here. I'd rather sell it at the top of this leg somewhere. GU, I'm happy to if we can obviously come further up, ideally somewhere inside of that break there. Just given where it's positioned on a higher time frame, it still makes sense to sell, whereas EU can definitely buy for a little bit. So yeah, if I'm gonna sell EU, I want it to come up there and take that. That'll give us obviously this as a really good target as well. It'll be a medium inducement target. If we drive up here, break this high, potentially take that, sell down, we're not able to get into the sell. We come down and take out this low. That will be a medium inducement, so we can then look to buy price back up off the back of this, treating this more or less as a breaker structure rather than an inducement. So we've got options for today. It's not looking like a London Open type option, but definitely a mid-London type setup. So we'll see how that presents, see what that wants to do. Guys in the group, I'll get a couple of case studies in for those trades yesterday, over probably tomorrow. But yeah, we're definitely in an interesting spot today, guys. So, be patient on London Open. We'll see what price presents us. We do have some options to work with. So let's just wait and see what the market wants to do and work with what it gives us.